Welcome to the Money Over 50 podcast, brought to you by Dallas Davison and Michael Hogue from Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. This information is general in nature and does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Therefore, you should consider whether the information is appropriate for you and your personal circumstances. If you require personal advice, please contact Money Over 50 Financial Advisors.
Welcome to the Money Over 50 podcast with Ali and Dallas. What do you have for us today?
Got a new theory, Ali. This should be a short, sharp podcast.
A new theory or an opinion, mate? What is it?
We've had this conversation in the past. Ali keeps saying to me that just because I call it a theory doesn't mean it's scientific.
I know. There's no science to it, mate. You literally plucked that out of the air just 10 seconds ago. I know.
So maybe we'll call it an opinion, but I think it sounds better if I say theory.
We'll call it a theory,
or
mate.
Hypothesis, but call it a theory. So my theory is that only one member of a couple should have a new car.
Okay.
And where this came from, as we've discussed in just a recent podcast, is that so Nicola and I have just bought a new car. We bought a Kia Carnival, which is the car of choice for
family van.
Family van of choice. We had one actually when we went on a trip to America a few years ago, and when we only had one. We only had Winston. He was 5 months old at the time, but it was awesome to have all the space, all the space. Just threw stuff in the back, and so Nicola's about to have our third, and so we went and her car we were having some issues with it, so we went right. Why don't we just get the ideal setup for a three child family?
Yeah.
Get the Kia Carnival. We bought it brand new. It was what's the opposite of top of the line? Bottom of the line. The bare basics of it, but it's a brand new car. We went, okay. And it was interesting because as we were going through this, there was a few different people that said to me at the time, something came up, Nicola's just got a new car. So she's got a Kia Carnival, for run the kids around and all the rest of it. And a lot of people said to me, so you're going to get a new car at the same time?
Right.
And that probably actually is more to do with how much of a piece of crap my car is.
It is I wish you guys could see this white Camry. There's dings all over.
Every panel has a ding on it.
Yeah.
It's got bits of rust. I did just get the suspension fixed before we went on a drive.
Wow. So it's safe at least.
It's safe. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, this car of mine is very, very rough looking, very mediocre. I often say the good thing about it is I can just leave the keys in it pretty much anywhere I go. Like if anyone steals my car, they really just need a car. And they're welcome.
They can have it.
Yeah. So my car is terrible. Mechanically very sound, and we just drove 12 hours in it the other day to go and see clients. So it's mechanically nothing wrong with it, but to look at it's not much. And it was interesting because there was a thing, almost an expectation. It was like a what's the word? A points thing, almost. It's like if Nicola gets a new car, well, you should get a new car.
Yeah.
And I it had never really occurred to me, and it was when people said, "What are you going to get a new car?" I went, no, why would I need a new car? I mean, I've had other mates of mine say to me, "You need a new car. Look at you, you're a disgrace." That's
separate.
That's a separate issue. This was really just people saying, "Well, if Nicola gets a new car, maybe you should have a new car." And I kind of understand anyone who says that there's no keeping score in a marriage has never been married. That's not how it is. There's obviously some point scoring that goes on, but it was interesting to me because I went, like Nicola and I had thought about this and gone, okay, well, she's going to have 3 kids in a car. There's a substantial difference to her day-to-day life having that car, that she's not going to be stuck on the side of the road in Townsville summer with 3 screaming kids and the car broken down. She's going to be able to get in and out and store all the stuff in there without having headaches and standing there at the back of it sweating, trying to play Tetris and fit everything in. And, again, it's not that car is going to make her blissfully happy, but it is going to actually... There's the difference in her life from having a new car was I would say 20 times more substantial than the difference in my life. So if I got a new car, I'd drive a Camry sedan. If I got a new car, I'd probably just go and get a brand new Camry sedan. So, and it'd be white because I'm boring and that's what I want to do. So I thought about that way.
And you'd probably get a baseball bat and put in some dings.
And just ding the whole thing up.
You go, oh yeah, this is better.
This is about right for me. So, and I'd just be sitting in that Camry the same as I was before.
Yeah.
And so it sort of made me realise, like, as much as we, new things won't make you lastingly happy, the difference in that car for Nicola was way more substantial than the experience of me having a new car.
Yeah.
And so my theory on this is that anytime you've got a couple where they both get new cars at the same time, it's very unlikely. Like, what are the odds that both cars need to be replaced at the same time, and that both people needed, that their day-to-day life was such that a new car was going to be important or meaningful to them at that point in time. Yeah. Whenever, if you're a member of a couple and you find yourself both going to get a new car at the same time, I just wonder how much of that is a square up, basically. Well, if you get a new car, I want a new car. And it's not to say that we have those sorts of jokes with clients all the time where they might go, well, if you get a new car, I'm going on a trip overseas with my mate, and that sort of thing. But it was just interesting to go, a new car is a very substantial expense.
Huge.
Like it needs to be. We thought about it for a long time before doing it, and so if you're a couple and one of you is going, right, well, I want to upgrade my car, I want a new car, or whatever the case might be, there's a thing where it's like, and then I think there's also a thing where it's like, while we're doing the car thing, let's just tidy it all up. And my theory on that is that in any household, the more you can spread those costs out, the better off you are. So it's very unlikely that both of you will get the same benefit from a new car. So it's probably a good chance to go, okay, well, who actually would benefit the most from this? Yeah. Let's get them a new car, and then let's just sit and see for 3 to 5 years. And then when that time comes where, okay, it would be a substantial improvement for me to get a new car, that's probably the time to do it. Like, don't get caught in the thing of going, we're doing new car shopping. Instead of spending 50 grand on a new car, let's go and spend 100 grand on a new car.
And that's a huge cost and can make a huge difference in the retirement savings altogether anyway. So you just need to, some people forget that you can just wait a few years. You don't have to rush into any decision.
And it is interesting because I had this with clients where, like, they'd get to the end of their lease and change over their cars. And all it took was me to go, do you actually want a new car? And they went, nah, not really. We don't really care. I went, okay, well, why don't you just not?
Yeah.
It's sort of like they went, yeah, you're right. That's just a habit that we've fallen into. Yeah. And you have the same thing, I think, with couples where every 5 years they've both changed over both their cars. And they go, right, it's that time to change over cars. And you go, well, but do you actually, I still really like my car. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, let's just, the longer that you can put that off, the better off you are.
I think, and that's something I think Michael's really good at, is making it clear, that trade-off of going, well, you don't value that. Yeah. You really like travel. Yeah. This is the amount of travel you can get to do each year. If you
This comes back to Michael's siloing of money, where he'll go, instead of spending that, let's take that money and put it in a separate bucket.
Yeah, that's right.
That bucket can be your overseas travel bucket. Whereas I'd be going, it's all money, man. It doesn't matter. That money's not special. You can put that money in super. Yeah, that's boring. That's not exciting. So, that is a good point. That if you think of it that way, it probably makes it more concrete. That not only do you not probably really want or need a new car for the next one of you probably doesn't need or want a car for 3 to 5 years. What else could you be doing with that money? Yeah. The boring option is, whack it into super or do whatever or save it or pay off your mortgage. But the other option would be to go, well, what other trade-offs? What else could we be doing? That could we go on a trip to Sydney or Melbourne from, for the weekend every 3 months for the next 2 years instead, or whatever the case might be there. It's unlikely that you would both look at it and go, no, we both really value a new car at this exact phase of our life and at this exact phase of the life cycle of our old car. Yeah. It's very unlikely that is the case.
Oh, so, definitely.
But, so that's my theory. There's a bit
of science. That's all right. There was a bit of science to that, so you did think about it a little bit. You didn't just pluck that out of thin air.
Yeah, mate, you'll learn this. The theories that I have on the podcast are much more thought out than the ones I have when we're just having a coffee. Which
the coffee ones are
completely made up. There's not much to
the worst theories you have are the ones where you start off on one point, and at the end you completely contradict that and go, actually
I think the opposite.
All right, mate.
So, no, I think this has been a good one. I've ended this theory in the same position I'm at now.
Yeah.
I haven't had any disconfirming evidence from you. I think we're all on the same page there. So brilliant.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Money Over 50 podcast with Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. For more information and resources, visit the Money Over 50 website, mo50.com.au. We look forward to catching up again soon.